And Imam Ahmed is there, and Imam Ahmed is asked, "Oh Ahmed, what were you whipped for?" But he stood firm on the aqidah of Islam. And me and you want to sell out for what? When the government, when the Khilafah, the Abbasiyya became corrupted in their aqidah, they started to say the Quran is makhluk. When this came as the government line, the official line of the Khilafah, not talking about a president or a king, a Khalifa, and he is bad. But he corrupted the aqidah. He said the Quran is makhluk. Most people today will be like, what's the big deal? Okay, he's still Muslim, he still says the name of Allah, he still believes in the Quran, he believes in the Prophet ﷺ, he still makes salah, he's still fighting jihad, he's still doing all of that, he's making salah amongst the people, so what's the big deal? La. If the Quran was makhluk, if the Quran was creation, then it could be wrong. Every makhluk has shortcomings, but the Quran is not makhluk, it is kalamullah, it is the words of Allah, the Khaliq. And anything from the Khaliq is غير makhluk. So it is perfect. There is no contradiction, there is no mistake, there is no chance of anything being wrong, because as the Khaliq is perfect, his kalam is perfect. So when the Mu'tazila, they brought this aqidah, and the kings, with their swords, with their spears, with their arrows, with their armies, with their authority, with their wealth, with everything, brought this down. How many ulama sold their religion? How many ulama took the rukhsa and they just lied to protect their lives? How many ulama they fled? But there were two who stood. Muhammad bin Nuh and Ahmad ibn Hanbal. They didn't have an army, they didn't do a revolution, they didn't go and protest, they didn't go and lobby, they stood. Muhammad bin Nuh died early, naturally he died. So the whole Khilafah right now, Abbasiyya, with all their strength, is pushing an aqidah, and there is one man standing. One man standing. That man is Ahmad ibn Hanbal. They offer him money, they offer him status. No, not going to sell out. This is a nasiha to our Imam. I'm not a leader in the Muslim community, I'm just a low servant. But those that are in leadership, those that are respected, those that are, there's big groups and for. Look at the Salaf of the Sunnah and look at what you're doing. Imam Ahmed, he stood firm. That Imam against everybody, the whole world, it was against him in that sense. Except for the Mukhlisin that were quiet. They were with him, but they were quiet. They took him for trial. They imprisoned him. Talk about knowledge. These are the people of knowledge. They imprisoned him. He said, I'm not worried about being in prison because the prison cell and my house is the same. The Salaf. Zuhud. He said, I'm not worried about being killed because I know if I'm killed, I'm a shaheed. He said, but I don't want to be whipped. I don't want the fitna of the whip, because the whip, we're not talking about like somebody going, In the whip, when they would hit, it would rip the skin. And the whip, when they would hit, they would whip your face. He said, I'm worried about the fitna of the whip. Until he saw the criminal who told him something. He said, oh Ahmed, you are on the haqq. I have been whipped for drinking alcohol and other sins. And I have been patient for my sin. Don't sell out for the haqq. Imam Ahmed said, nobody's words gave me more comfort than his. He said, after that, I was not worried about the whip. I'm on the haqq. Whatever happens, happens. So now that Ahmad ibn Hanbal, He's brought in front of the Khalifa. How many excuses can you make? He's the Khalifa. He's this, he's that. People are there. His opponent is also named Ahmed, named Dawud. He's there, Mu'tazili. And they want to debate with him. And he's kept in a prison cell. He's fasting in the day, they don't give him food at night. He has to carry chains. After all of that, hungry, tired, imprisoned, under pressure, under stress, they bring a panel of the Mu'tazila. And they're debating. And everything they do, he responds with the Quran, he responds with Hadith, he quietens them. And every time they're like, what about Kalam, what about this? He doesn't say, I'm going to use it to debate. No, he says, give me something in the Quran or the Hadith, I will respond. He shuts them up. So when the people, they cannot debate with you, what do? They want to go to violence. You bring the whip. SubhanAllah, Ahmad ibn Hanbal, the great scholar, Hadith, scholar of Hadith, scholar of fiqh, such an honored personality. What is he being whipped for? Imagine when you're in front of Allah and Imam Ahmed is there and Imam Ahmed is asked, oh Ahmed, what were you whipped for? But he stood firm on the aqidah of Islam. And me and you, we want to sell out for what? That Ahmad ibn Hanbal, he was whipped. Even on the face, his face ripped open. There's not a Disney story. His face was ripped open. They had to take metal claws and pull the skin and solder it. And when he was being whipped, his izar, his loincloth started to loosen. Check the Kutub al-Tarikh that were checked. His loincloth started to loosen. He made dua. He didn't make dua, oh Allah, get me out of. No, he made dua, oh Allah, don't let my aura be exposed. 2 hands came out of the ground. This is not some story tale. 2 hands came from the ground, held his izar. The nusra of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Go look in Zahabi, look at Kutub al-Tarikh, go look it up. Imagine when he's asked in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ahmad, what were you whipped for? And we are standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will question us. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those that will at least respect knowledge enough not to sell out our religion, not to sell out our stance, not to sell out our aqidah, not to sell out our fiqh, not to sell out the Quran and Sunnah, not to sell out the way of the Salaf of the Ummah. At least stand on what is haqq. And if you cannot, be quiet. If you cannot, stay quiet. But don't go and say that which is khalif. Because in the end, you will go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from those